Unit, salute, amped up with BC 4/7/2025. We got a packed, jacked, stacked show for you today. Tiffy time and Charlie Flair. If it seems that segment on Friday Night SmackDown went a bit off script, it's because it did. And we're going to talk all about it on today's show. We're also going to discuss Carmella, former WWE Women's Champion multiple times over, taking her complaints about the company and taking it on a world media tour. Carmella not happy. But does she have a gripe? She is just the latest of a long list of individuals that WWE has chose to part ways with, which they have every right to do, but it's how they're doing it. And all of these wrestlers are crying a foul. They're all saying the way that it's being done is completely unacceptable. Mind you, we're not talking about under Vince. Their big complaint is under Hunter Hearst Helmsley. We'll talk all about it. And Dynasty, the big pay-per-view from All Elite Wrestling that aired live last night. Everything that happened on this show, we'll talk about it. BC's thoughts. The results, of course, but BC's thoughts. I will tell you this. Up front, the wrestling, the action, that was full throttle last night. The outcomes, the match finishes. We got to talk about it. And Swerve. Because when it was all said and done, one of the biggest headlines had nothing to do with the show. But when the show went off the air, Swerve addressed the Philly crowd, the live crowd. And what Swerve said instantly made headlines and has the whole wrestling world up in arms. What did he say? We'll talk about it. They were definitely choice words for one certain WWE talent. If you thought that beef was over, Swerve last night said, we'll talk about it. It's all coming up. It's all in today's Amped Up 4/7/2025 programming note right here on the channel. Later this evening, right before Raw, stop by the channel. BC hopes to be live with you guys. A little bit of a preview for Raw, and maybe we'll even watch the first match or two live. Maybe. We'll have to see. We're switching providers. We're going to see if the stream will even be up and going. No technical difficulties. There's a lot of inclement weather. But we'll see if we can get a stream up and going before Raw, maybe about a half an hour, 45 minutes before. Stop by the channel, say what's up, smash the up, say what up to BC in the unit. We'd love to have you. So, programming note, there could be a double dose of BC today. Stop by the channel. You should already be subscribed, notified, smashing the up. Press all the things down below, man. Just super kick to the like button. Batista bomb to the subscription. Lock the notification bell into a sharpshooter. You know what to do. Support the channel. Let BC know you're fully amplified. It's like pulling teeth. I gotta know you guys are amplified. Do the deed. Smash all the things down below, collect that W, get your hand raised, hold up a championship, an amplified championship. Channel members, salute to you guys, man. You guys, as you have noticed, you're getting these uploads at least an hour before everybody else. Yesterday's big upload, talking about those $10,000 seats that are still out there for WrestleMania. You guys got that 3 hours before everybody else. Just a little perk, a little bit of a way for BC to say thank you to my unit. All right. It's time to get into it. Let me get a swig of coffee. No opening signature, especially if it is a double dose of BC today, a double dose of Amped Up. We got to get right into these stories so you guys can do what you got to do. Come back later this evening. Swig of coffee. We're going to start with the Tiffany and Charlie going off the script. Let's go. Charlie Flair, Tiffany Stratton. Was that a bizarre segment Friday night on SmackDown? Yes. Was it good television? Absolutely. Right? Like any good train wreck. You ain't looking away from that one. That was so good. And it's because the crowd really brought the heat to Charlie. And when that happens, she absolutely gets rattled. We've seen that time and time again. That's why I continuously, for over a decade now, it seems, I've had the channel for not a decade, but I've been screaming it to the TV at least for a decade. What are you doing, WWE? Stop trying to make her a face. Stop shoving her down everybody's throat and trying to make her the actual queen of WWE. Let it happen naturally if it's going to, but just make her a good heel. And let the chips fall where they will. Sink or swim. But you can't hold her hand through the process and always, for a decade now, try to make her this face. And when it falls on its face, you just go back to turning her heel for 116th time. And she takes off for a few months, comes back as a face. We repeat the process within a day. She's already a heel. It's mind-boggling how badly they have botched Charlotte Flair. They wanted her to be in this big position, the actual one of the faces of the company. And they tried so hard and were so bad at it that it backfired dramatically and incredibly beyond anybody's wildest expectations. Roman Reigns didn't backfire this badly. And that's part because 5 years after just being shoved like Charlie Flair, Roman finally went to Vince and said, enough. We got to do something different. Charlie, they just keep doing the same thing for 10 years. So we go back to Friday, right? It's the same routine playing out. The crowd is rattling her and she completely goes off script. This time, refusing to cut her portion of the promo. Now, when you do this, guys, you're throwing the person you're working with under the bus. Same thing as if you go off script in a match. Promos are the same. Now you're throwing the other person off. Tiffany Stratton just cut her portion of her monologue, right? Now she waits for Charlie, and you can tell that it was going to volley back to Tiffany. But because the crowd was booing her, Charlie just smirks, gets rattled, and says, you know what? No, forget it. You keep going, Tiffany. That's the first point where this went off script, guys, just so you know. And by the way, I'll get right to the news. Behind the scenes, backstage, the reports are this was completely off the rails, went off script. So that is confirmed. And we'll get to more of that. But I want to take you guys to where this actually started, right? Was it just the finish that went off script, BC? No, absolutely not. I dissected this whole promo, but I did it the first time. That's why I'm the best to do what I do on this platform. That's not an ego trip. It's not a self-pat on the back. It's because we literally watch with a keen eye. We dissect better than everybody. We have the knowledge. We put in the common sense and the logic. And we just compile all the facts necessary to come to the most obvious of conclusions. And when you do that, you see where this went off track, off base, off kilter, and off script immediately. The second the crowd rattled her and had to volley it back to Tiffany Stratton. I truly believe Charlotte was hoping to give Tiffany enough rope to do herself in. But Tiffany this time, unlike a few weeks ago when the whole wrestling world thought that it was the end of Tiffany Stratton because supposedly Charlie cooked Tiffany, this time Tiffany rocked back. Charlotte was thinking if I have Tiffany just keep on going, thinking I was going to cut my portion, but instead I let her keep going. This is going to throw her off. And she was waiting for it. The second that Tiffany finally muffed up that promo, which wasn't toward the end, by the way, she actually did really good. But toward the end, she slipped up on some words. And what did Charlie do? She jumped on it. Jumped on it. She was waiting. That's the original reason why she volleyed it back. I'm just going to you're going to boo me. Watch. And you're going to appreciate me more. Just like a few weeks ago when you were praising me and ripping Tiffany. You said I cooked her. Watch what I do. Keep talking, Tiffany. Hang yourself, right? Tiffany didn't do that, though. And that just pissed off Charlotte Flair even more. To the point where we got to the end and Tiffany drops that line. You're 4-3 at WrestleMania, but you're 0-3 in other areas, aren't you? How's your relationships going? A direct a direct shot over to Andrade and her divorce, and how just 24 hours it became really publicized. Charlotte started talking about it and opening up about it, and how being 0-3 in marriages is not anything that any woman actually wants to talk about, especially when it's with somebody who's within the company. And Tiffany Stratton put it right out there on full blast. And then she left the ring immediately because she knew Charlotte was legit pissed off. Charlotte rocks back. At this point, the mic should have been cut off. The promo was actually over at that point. It had already went off the rails. But Charlotte shoots back on the mic. Is that why Kaiser's in my DMs? Most of the live crowd's like, what are you talking about? Think about the live crowd, guys. These are the kids. A lot of the fans that are willing to spend anything. They just want to go out and yeet and sing, and they drag their parents out. They don't really know a lot of the behind the scenes. They don't really know that Kaiser and Tiffany are a couple. So that line, unless Kaiser was involved in this story the whole time, but with only less than 2 weeks left, Kaiser's not a part of this. Unless you try to force him in the last week. That'd be kind of funny. But he wasn't a part of this. There'd be no reason to put him in. This was a direct shot over to Tiffany and to try to have the IWC go, damn, she cooked. She roasted Tiffany again. Did you hear that Kaiser line? But that's not what happened. The IWC didn't do that. We all just went, what a weird segment. What just happened? Charlie was rocked. She was just grasping at straws at that point, trying to throw anything and hope that it sticks. Tiffany got her shot in and took off. The whole thing was bizarre. Your face throws a shot and then runs away. So yeah, I'm not saying Tiffany played this well at all. That could not have been what was written, right? Not the line itself, but just what was supposed to be said. She wasn't supposed to just leave the ring, was she? Like, how badly did this go off script? That's what I want to find out. There's no question that it did. I saw that in real time. The fact that within the last 24 hours it was confirmed from those backstage, I didn't even need that. I'll take it. More confirmation, the better. Especially when it's reputable. But I already knew that. But how badly? I know exactly where it started to go off the rails. And again, it started with Charlie going into business for herself. That's what I try to tell you guys. That's what she does. You don't understand, man. You're throwing the person you're working with under the bus. Same thing if you do it in a match. It's the same thing with a promo. When you decide to go off script like that, you better hope you're working for two and not just going into business for yourself. Because when you don't cut your promo, crowd's going to boo you. Yeah, okay, you got to think on the fly, but deliver your shit, because Tiffany is waiting to volley back. She's playing off of you. So you just skip everything and go, keep going. Now she's got to jump into her monologue. You say, well, BC, a professional should be able to do that. Yes, a professional should also not put the other person they're working with in that position. Give her a breather, bro. Give Tiffany a breather. Let her get a chance to really rock back. But Tiffany didn't skip a beat. She said, all right, you're not going to do your part. You want me to... and she started spitting the second part of her monologue. And the second she slipped up toward the end of it, Charlie jumped on it and started making fun of her squeak, the voice, a higher pitch. She started to talk about the stuttering. Blah, 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 blah. She was waiting for that, guys. She was just hoping it was going to come much sooner in the monologue. But that's what Charlotte does. It's the same thing Jonathan Cena has done for years. Jonathan Cena goes out there and he preys on individuals that cannot cut promos, or not as good as him, not properly. Maybe still learning. Maybe they really need to gel off the other, and John Cena will leave them out to dry. He has done it so many times. You guys know I bring it up all the time. I'm not even going to bring up the Roman Reigns thing again. There's been many, many situations where on the microphone, John Cena just roasted individuals. And you say, well, hey, man, if they can't hang with him, he's got to do it. Guys, there's a line, though. You can't literally go out of your way to make the person you're working with look that bad. John Cena knew what he was doing so many times, and he absolutely just hung them out. And they were never the same after that. None of them. Roman definitely not, until he finally made that big change. And the heel persona and all that came. Before that, when he was continuing to try to be a top face, there was no way. Cena roasted that. Charlie Flair does the same thing. She knows how to leave people high and dry in the middle of a promo and make them look really bad. She's good at that. Sometimes it's warranted. If you're literally out there and you forget your words and you don't know what you're doing, yeah, man, they're probably pissed off and they need to save the segment. They're going to cook you. And then there's other times where, dude, you don't go out of your way to do it. I do feel like this past Friday, Tiffany was really trying to jive back and forth, and Charlie just went into business for herself. Got all up in her feels because she was being booed so loudly and so badly. She just gave up. Forget it. You keep going. And then just tried to cook Tiffany with a bunch of low blows. But once she got the 0-3 divorce line, all she could come up with is the most personal attack. Kaiser, DMs. Kaiser's talking to me, which I doubt, by the way. But it's a low blow for the IWC to say, hey, man, she cooked Tiffany again. That didn't happen, though. And it just came out as really bizarre. Good television, like I said. A lot more interested in Tiffany and Charlotte now, I'll tell you that much. Because it's a real deal, man. Charlotte gets really upset with things like that when the company has put every part of the machine, every different type of rocket you could imagine, they strap to her back. And for 10 years, it just doesn't work. Tiffany comes in as a heel, and she is just instantly beloved by everybody. Everybody's talking about her athleticism, her talent, her skills, her beauty, and how she's it, man. That's it. Everybody, international crowds, everybody unanimously, simultaneously, all said, that's it. Yeah, and then Charlotte's out there. And she's getting that type of reaction, like, just, no, stop. She's like, all right, I will. You keep going. And that was the point where it just went off. And the low blows started a coming. I do think they were supposed to go a little. I don't think it was supposed to be that much. I'm guessing the writers backstage just said, just kind of go in on one another. Don't even tell each other up front. I think there was a little bit of that. It was never supposed to go that low. You were never supposed to expose a Kaiser-Tiffany relationship. I don't think that's obviously Charlotte wasn't supposed to do that. Was the 0-3 line at some point supposed to be delivered in a different way? That's always a possibility. But by that point, it was already off the rails, so that's why it just ended up so bizarrely and stung even harder with Charlotte Flair. I don't know, man. That was absolutely wild. But yes, confirmation, that was obviously off the script in more ways than one in several areas. Once it went off the script, it never came back on. Once it went off the tracks, it never came back on. It's just going to be interesting if they... I don't know. I want to say, for the next week, just do the same. But I don't know if Charlie can handle that. It'll make great television, but I don't know if it'll be effective to the casual crowd. You know what I mean? Because Charlie could take these things to places where only a big portion of the IWC would know. But that's not what she's marketed as, and that's the problem. WWE doesn't know how to WWE doesn't know how to position, how to market, what they're doing with Charlotte. So Charlotte goes out there every performance, and it's unfortunate to say that after 10 years, Charlotte doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. Or who she is or what she is. Knocks down the self-esteem and the self-confidence even more. I don't know what it is with Charlie. I don't even really recognize her anymore. I don't know if she's doing a bunch of... I hope not. I wish women would just take a step back, look in the mirror, and understand that they are fucking beautiful as is. I don't even like makeup on ladies, personally. I don't. The real beauty, I find beauty in these girls just fucking no makeup. In fact, put on a ball cap or a hoodie, some fucking old school Adidas's with some fat pants, some fat jeans. Dude, just kick it. But women today, man, they feel like they got to do all these things to their face and put 6 pounds of makeup on, and I don't get it. And what they do, this may be a hot take, and I'm not just saying Charlie, I've seen it so many times, and unfortunately in the pro wrestling world, a lot of females in the pro wrestling world, I'm starting to see it a lot, where they actually do so much work or do so much to their face where they don't even, it's like a detriment. They're actually ruining their natural beauty. So they're going backwards. I hope that makes sense. Oh, BC's words of wisdom, man. You're beautiful, ladies. Stop messing with your faces. Although I guess that is like, that can get to be like a condition or a disease or something like that too, right? I've seen that where, especially females, they're just not happy with the way they look, so they keep getting more and more work done. But the more and more work they get done, obviously that's kind of morphing them into something that sometimes is just unrecognizable. The whole thing just sucks, if they could just realize, dude, stop. You ain't got to do anything. You're hot. It's wild. Man, it's wild. Let's stick with the females, actually. Speaking of beautiful ladies in WWE, former WWE talent Mella speaking out even more candidly than ever before about her departure from WWE. So Mella is speaking out on her WWE exit. She's been speaking out the last month, but now she's kind of taking it to a whole world media tour, right? A couple days ago on the Tamron Hall show, and she has more media appearances planned. Mella is one of those situations where the pregnancy didn't exactly go as planned, where you have the baby take some time off, maybe come back, like others have in the past. Becky Lynch is planning the same thing soon. But, Mickie James... Mickie James, same thing. She bounced back a little quicker, I believe. And the MILF shirts and the MILF chants were already sounding off. But with Mella, she ended up having a big issue where there was like a pinched nerve during her pregnancy, and it caused something like drag foot or something like that. So in other words, like her foot just wouldn't go. Literally the definite dragging. So obviously she couldn't compete. So the whole time, just to give you guys a little bit of transparency, the whole time that she was pregnant, WWE was paying her. Pretty cool. And then once the baby was born, there was a 7-week period that they allowed her to get her affairs in order, ducks in a row, do what you got to do. And then your contract kind of reignites. And we kickstart back. So she had that 7-week period. But because she couldn't compete because of this issue, obviously she wasn't coming back to wrestle. So the way she tells it is she was trying every idea and thought imaginable, but Hunter Hearst Helmsley was shooting it down, was not wanting it, was saying no. Thanks, but no thanks. Anything, holding a mic, interviewing, managing, right? Give me a tag team. What's the harm in that? Don't act like there's a tag team division that's relevant. Don't act like tag teams up front couldn't have a manager like Carmella. Where's the harm in that? I mean, she's a big enough name. There's been enough. The company has done so much resources and everything went into it. What's the harm in having her come out and manage? Or be backstage. Just hold a mic. Stand still. But the company said no to everything. Just did not want to bring her back in any capacity. So that is when she, 13 days before her contract expired, found out from the company that they were not going to re-sign her. Beforehand, no indication whatsoever. They were turning down every idea. Perhaps the writing was on the wall. But according to Carmella, they were saying, no, everything's good. We'll when we have something for you, we'll call you. Sound familiar? How sad is that? The way that this company under Hunter Hearst Helmsley strings you along even more than Vince ever did. Like this is more sad because Hunter tells you to your face everything is great. Hunter tells you you're doing just fine. Be proud of yourself, like he told Baron, remember? You should be really proud of yourself. You've accomplished so much. A week later, here's your walking papers. Hunter tells you all of this good stuff, all this good shit, and the minute you turn around, boom, sledgehammer to the back. "13 days before the contract expired, she found out that she's not going to have a job anymore." Again, sound familiar? Sonya Deville just told you the same damn story. Baron Corbin, Dijak, Cameron Grimes, the list goes on and on. They don't have a reason why. Carmella's one of her biggest gripes is she doesn't really have a reason. They never told her exactly why. Never. Sound familiar? Everybody that's getting either released or the company is choosing not to resign, which is that's their prerogative. That's their choice to do such or not do such. I hear you. I agree. The company gets to decide that, of course. It's not a charity. Everybody just doesn't get employment. But where's the transparency? How does somebody put in all the miles for you, break their backs, literally and figuratively at times, for you and your company, and you kick them to the curb and don't even have the common decency to give transparency and a reason why? Just we chose not to. Nothing. Under Hunter Hearst Helmsley, we're hearing these wrestlers say the same thing. "I thought we had a great relationship. He always spoke so positive of my performances and this and that. He always gave the Papa H speeches. And when I was kicked to the curb, I never heard from the dude again. Never heard from a reason as to why." With friends like that, who needs enemies? If Hunter Hearst Helmsley is just going to do that to these individuals. Carmella, 13 days before, she gets told that they're not re-signing and never told exactly why. So she's getting more candid as of late. And she's starting to say, if this was the pregnancy, then say that. Like, is there an issue with that? Because even if I can't compete yet, you've brought people back before in many other roles. But at least tell me, right? But because it's such a sensitive situation and it has to do with pregnancy and females, WWE, she's saying, might be trying to just avoid the situation. So she's trying to bring more light to it. Because this is not just WWE, probably, is what she's saying. This is probably going on all around in every different conglomerate and entity. And that may be true, but for this, what I do know is WWE, the way that they part ways with their talent is unacceptable. It is absolutely horrible to have to tell somebody they no longer have a job. You're no longer going to be with us, and we're not going to tell you why. Baron Corbin said it best recently. When Baron Corbin said that's one of the things that just eats at you. And Sonya, I think, said the same thing. That's one of the things that kind of eats at you more than anything is just not knowing. You know what I mean? Like if we just had closure and there was a reason, I know what to work on, this and that, but not knowing why. And Hunter doesn't have a damn second to tell you. That's why I feel bad for these talents, man. You could work at a damn McDonald's or a grocery store. And if the manager fires you, you're probably going to get a reason why. You're probably going to know why, but you're at least going to have some type of discussion. Not just, by the way, we're parting ways. Check you. Salud. So Mella's taking this a little bit more public now and going on all these talk shows. Is that going to put Corey Graves in more of a doghouse? You bet your ass it is. You bet your ass. Corey Graves is already in the doghouse. He was probably pissed off because Carmella was not re-signed. And then when he was replaced by Pat McAfee, he got even more pissed off. Probably saw the writing on the wall. Probably thinks the company is canning him, and maybe they are now. But that dude was firmly planted in the doghouse when he tried to speak up. I don't know what Corey Graves and Mella did. Mella doesn't know. Corey, he ended up saying what he said. Got firmly planted more in the dog. I guess we know for Corey, but up front, for Corey just to be demoted like he was and just given the runaround. I understand you got Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee today is not the same as 3 years ago, by the way. He's lost the luster. A pay-per-view now starts with Pat McAfee's music. It's like, all right, dude, stop. Stop acting like this is the second coming. It's Pat McAfee. We've seen this song and dance 85 billion times. Get on a headset and just say stupid things like, "One big son of a bitch, I'm eating out of my pants." Michael Cole, come on! Do your sound bites. You know, the whole thing got old, guys. Meanwhile, when he's not able to be there, which is a ton of times, Corey Graves is right there every time to do what he's supposed to do. And Corey Graves actually watches the product, whereas Pat McAfee has admitted he doesn't. He gets there a few hours early. Michael Cole fills him in on everything, or most, and then he just has to give his wild takes, his sound bites. I like Pat. I told you guys that. You want to talk support? Whenever I'm doing business, I'm in the studio, I will always blast Pat McAfee's show, even if I'm not paying attention. Get those advertisers kicking in, get that rating. So I support Pat. But I think what they did with Corey is a damn shame. And how they did Carmella is unacceptable. But you can say that about so many. At least give them a reason, man. Just be man enough to give a reason. And if you're Helmsley, if you're going to feed them a bunch of shit like everything is good, you have nothing to worry about. You wake up, you look up, the rainbow is there ready to shit out cupcakes with extra sprinkles and cherries. But instead, no, they get told all this and then they get the call of, "Oh, by the way, you're no longer with the company." Okay, well, hold on. Hunter didn't tell me that. Well, that's what Hunter's telling us. And for anybody that thinks, well, BC, no, it's Nick Khan. It's not H that has the decision. It absolutely is. He is the chief of content. He is the chief operator of all talent. No decision like getting rid of a wrestler or hiring a wrestler does not go through the ears of Hunter, so he can at the bare minimum have his input. BC, maybe he's fighting for these individuals and they're like, no. Really? Then you don't have 30 seconds to just call him real quick? Drop him a line? By the way, this is what happened, man. Nick was adamant. We needed to make these cuts. I love you. You're amazing. This is the reason he did it. If I can do anything for you in the future, let me know. Boom. That's it. Quick little ringy ding ding. No, he doesn't do that. So spare me the song and dance that H doesn't know, or it's out of H's hands. He's busy, BC. He can't be calling the former talent. Busy doing what? Writing Hall of Fame speeches, filming narrative or freaking promos for Are You Ready? Every time they go to a different fucking country, he's got to be the one to do the narration and the voiceover. Is he too busy filming commercials? Too busy doing media scrums? Too busy doing his finger pointing at all his new champions? Every single show there's a new champion just so he can point his finger and get a photo to try to make its rounds on the social doohickey? Come on, man. What's he busy doing? Stop it. He's certainly not busy doing creative, because where's that in WWE? It's unacceptable. And every single time somebody gets released or not re-signed, straight up fired, it doesn't matter. The wrestler says the same thing. I was never given a real reason. And one of the things that eats them the most is that not knowing, that just the thought that they just don't know what it was and the company won't tell them. It's bullshit. You guys know that. Let's move on to Swerve. We'll go over Dynasty results and thoughts right after this story. This happened after Dynasty. Show went off the air. Swerve is addressing Philly right after he just lost to Mox. And Swerve says this, and I quote, this is just to the live crowd. "When I speak on representation, I mean every fucking word of it. This kid that you guys have cheered on the last 12, 13 years just main evented 5 pay-per-views in a year. And one more thing, just for my own amusement. Fuck Booker T. This dude said fuck Booker T live in Philly. Was that for the live crowd? Of course. He didn't mean for it to be on TV and make the rounds, but he had to have known it was going to make the rounds. and reignite a beef that the last 48 hours, 72 hours, I really feel we're trying to put to bed, try to throw to the wayside. BC had made his upload. We all had a good discussion on it. Booker said he had talked to Swerve, expressed that he was disappointed in him. And maybe that's what upset Swerve. Like, okay, we had our talk. There was no reason to talk about the talk, So that kind of reignited it for Swerve. And that's the reason that it was not put to bed. Booker T kind of flamed it up even more, added fuel to that fire. So Swerve to the Chicago crowd was like, because he was talking representation. Heavy into the news cycle this whole last week for pro wrestling world, man. Swerve and Booker T's little beef and their back and forth. So we talked representation, and I think he just couldn't help it. He had to just, let me put the exclamation point on that. F Booker T, he says. And that made the rounds instantly, man. In some cases, overshadowing anything that happened on Dynasty. So, of course, the whole pro wrestling community up in arms. Swerve taking a lot of heat. Is it a smart thing to diss WWE talent, this, that, and the other thing? You got to remember, guys, him and Booker have this thing about a very real topic that transcends, goes way beyond pro wrestling. So it's not like they're just taking shots at one another just for shits and giggles. I mean, there's a purpose behind this, and Booker feels really passionate about what he's saying, and so does Swerve. So this was a more direct, we're not going to solve this type of response by Swerve, right? This is, I'm not interested in going back with Booker anymore or seeing Booker in the future and him telling me I'm disappointed in you, kid. I don't care what you are. I'm disappointed in you because you haven't done this for us, is what Swerve is saying. As far as who's right and wrong, I don't even think it's that cut and dry. I really don't. You guys know how I feel about Booker. I love Booker T. I've grown to get real fond. I fondly watch Swerve now more than ever because I see the star that he always was, I guess. And WWE truly never even put him in that position. And every time he tried, Hunter kept telling him, that's what he said. Every time I would go to Hunter and say, what do I got to do? Hunter's like, nah, just go away. In AEW, you really started to see Swerve is that dude, man. Like I always just said, oh, maybe he is just a mid-carder. He does nothing for me. He goes to AEW and I start paying attention. I'm captivated by the dude. He's putting on matches like this. His storylines are kick-ass. Him and Hangman, forget about it. That's really good stuff. Whether you like Mox or not, the stuff he's doing with Mox, especially Wednesday night, man, that was good. He's constantly in good stuff. Well, what conclusion do you come to when that happens? When somebody is constantly good and producing good television, you're good. So, Booker T, Swerve, two dudes I really support. So it sucks that they are in this little thing, but I mean, both really feel that they are correct. But this is the most direct thing that I've heard between the two. I don't know if Booker's going to respond. Booker most likely is going to respond. AEW Dynasty 4/6/2025. The Owen Hart quarterfinal for the dudes, kicking it off. Ospreay defeating Kevin Knight via pinfall. Good tone setter match. The wrestling, the skill sets on display, the crowd's into it, high octane. That's why I say it's a good tone setter, right? It sets the tone for the rest of the night, and it gives the audience little insight on what they can expect. That's the good news. The flip side, and this is just being truthful, it's a ballsy move to go with Kevin Knight in your opener. I tell you guys all the time, the opener is just as important as the main event. It's the one thing Jey Uso can kind of look at as a positive, right? He's no longer main event Jey Uso. But sometimes being first match Jey Uso, there's a lot of stock in that. There's a lot of weight that goes with that, man. A lot of pressure, and it's a big match, that opening act. So to give that to Ospreay and Knight, it's a huge responsibility that you were laying onto your wrestlers. On one hand, people are going to know Ospreay, right? Or at least the name. They know that's Will Ospreay. Even if they just heard all the mitts from Japan or wherever. You know Ospreay. Guys, the truth is, and this is no shade, much respect, ultra talented. But going into this, a lot of fans don't know what Kevin Knight, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get a lot of casuals that are watching. It's a pay-per-view. A lot of people are over their friend's house that has this on, or they're at the bar or whatever. And you're trying to get, and they're like, Kevin who? Kevin Owens? No, wrong company. This is Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight? I never heard of that. And it kind of takes you out of it, right? You have this whole night of matches planned. But when there's not enough star power, that can become an issue. Again, it's not like it's a right or wrong. Again, the match was good. Crowd was into it. Set the tone, set the pacing. That's what Tony Khan wanted. Check. Success. You guys are going to get the most fairest critique always on this channel. That's why we are the best of the best, literally. That's just facts. It's because we literally do not have a narrative or an agenda. We don't sugarcoat. We don't BS. That's the truth. The one thing that could take you out of this is the lack of star power. Ospreay, the bigger star, no doubt. Kevin Knight still has to introduce himself to a lot of fans, man. There's a lot of cards that he needs to distribute. A lot of business cards that Kevin Knight needs to distribute to get people to go, oh, all right. I'll leave it at that, guys. I'll leave it at that. But match-wise, yes, good tone setter. A little bit more than just the wrestling, though. Like a big story development, a big match finish with a massive moment. Like that would be the way to really set the tone. Something stunning or shocking, but I'm going a little bit more into creative left field with a hockey stick. In a much more lower tone, this was a good start to the show. Now, if you want star power, Hurt Syndicate. Hurt Business from WWE, man. Hurt Syndicate defending their AEW tag titles against the Learning Tree. Brian Keith would take all the hits at the finish, including a Lashley spear. I think it was Benjamin that ended up with the pin, though, over Keith. Keith definitely ate the pin. Keith was just absolutely the odd man. He was the heel that was just getting the whooping and eating the pin when this was said and done. I didn't put it in my notes, but I think Lashley gave the spear and it was Benjamin for the pin. I believe, if anybody cares. Maybe I'm getting too in-depth right now, but assist over to MJF. He was out there trying to help out, distract, do what he does. MJF and Hurt Syndicate, I'm not for this. You guys know that. I understand there is enough fans that are okay with it and think it can lead to many cool things. That's cool, man. It's not right or wrong. And I'm hoping you're right. But this is one of those things where if I have MJF in my company and I am writing for him and I have any creative control, I'm not putting MJF with Jeff Jarrett for 2 months and then right into a Hurt Syndicate angle. I don't need any group with MJF or vice versa. But that's just BC having a million creative ideas for MJF. And Jeff Jarrett and Hurt Syndicate is nowhere near any of those. So no, I'm against this. But for those saying, BC, let it play out, let's see where it goes. Yeah, I have no choice. I'm not writing this stuff, unfortunately. So I will have to see where it all goes and let it play out. But that's my thoughts on MJF being out there with the Syndicate. Match number 3. I had some high interest and a lot invested into this. Mercedes is my all-time favorite female talent in the world of pro wrestling, so this was pretty cool to watch her do her thing. Mercedes Moné defeated Julia Hart via pinfall in a women's Owen Hart tournament quarterfinal. I think I got that right. This was a good match, but these are all appetizers to get us to the main course. Athena versus Mercedes. And yes, Athena was watching this match, watching on from backstage. That was really cool, man. They're planting all the seeds necessary. Mercedes, Ember Moon, or Sasha Banks, Ember Moon, Mercedes, Athena. I'd say book it, Tony, but he is. Julia Hart gave it a really good effort, though, man. Mercedes with the pin here. I think she went for like the She went for like the backstabber, but didn't she like cradle her, I believe? I didn't put it in my notes. I think we could have gotten to that finish a little better. I'll be the first to say this. As a huge Mercedes Moné supporter, I like the match. I like what we're about to get with Athena. Finish-wise, I'm not big on that. But that seemed to have been the theme for last night. The wrestling wasn't the problem. The finishes, a lot of question marks. Anyway, Mercedes retains and keeps her 86 titles. I love it. Riders. The Death Riders are out there. They retain their trios titles, defeating Rated FTR. Dax eating the pin after inadvertently smashing his dome piece with Cope's dome piece. And Wheeler Utah took care of the rest. Post-match, FTR turns full throttle heels, annihilate Cope. A couple of pile drivers, one on a chair, a shatter machine, and a concerto to ensure that Cope is stretchered to the back, and that's exactly what happened. Now that's a heel turn, guys. A lot of people, where's it going to go, this and that. I thought they looked the part. I thought they played it beautifully, not just Cope taking the whooping, but the way that and this is their first rodeo, guys. They're natural-born heels anyway, not faces. So this is right in their comfort zone. And I love how they had Cash go with Dax, not just Dax. This was a good little swerve. And what do you say, BC, we saw this coming? Nah, not necessarily. There was about 3 different ways they could have went here. I like what they did here. This is probably my favorite part of the event, actually. You know, this is something that if I was like a kid watching, like, I'm not forgetting that. It's those moments. Then we went into Toni Storm retaining her women's championship, defeating Megan Bayne via pinfall. Basically a roll-up. A roll-up. That's what she did, man. That's another cradle, was it not? Maybe Mercedes didn't have the... I'm forgetting now. And when I don't put it... Guys, this event was only 26 hours long. Slight exaggeration. But I know that this was definitely a roll-up or a crate. I was like, are you kidding me? Because this was one of the matches I was really... I'm going to give you guys a little bit of some insight on how much I was into this matchup. Mercedes is my all-time fave, right? Biggest supporter of Mercedes. I was looking forward to this Toni Storm Megan Bayne match more than Mercedes Julia. And they did good. The match was good. The sequence before Bayne actually got rolled up, cradled, whatever you want to call it. The sequence before, she took, what was it? Like, not 1, not 2, 3 hip attacks. 3 hip attacks and a Storm Zero and still kicked out. Said, nah, you ain't beating me with 10 hip attacks and 5 Storm Zeros. That was the look that Bayne was given. And then moments later, she's just rolled up. Fuck you doing? BC, that's the point, man. It caught her off guard. She was expecting all these. No! It works maybe if you're the same sizing but Megan Bayne is a monster. Megan Bayne's a beast. You can't take a beast and have her just get rolled up. I've seen WWE do this with Lashley and Strowman and so many others. It's so goofy. Nobody is going to believe that big badass Megan Bayne is going to be tucked for 3 seconds. I can't get one of my shoulders just a centimeter off the mat. Acting like Megan Bayne has never seen a gym when it's the exact opposite, clearly. It's not realistic. If you can buy into that, that's fine. But she's going through all these hip attacks, Storm Zeros, and it's a roll-up. It's a cradle that's going to beat her. Stop. Stop. That is so bad, man. Like, if you're creative for a wrestling company, you have to know that's got to be better. It's the right winner. Whether you guys know it or not, or don't agree with that, I don't know what to tell you. That's definitely the right winner. That's the whole reason Bayne pinned Toni Storm in a weird tag match a couple weeks ago. They were always getting to the point where Toni just got the title back. You can't just take it off her now. You got to build prestige back to Toni and the title. Megan Bayne's going to be fine as long as you do it correctly. And don't do stupid shit like maybe have her get rolled up or cradled. Small package, whatever you want to call these things. You're just holding somebody down. Stop. Anyway, can you tell I'm a little heated on that? A little bit, just a little bit. You got to do better with that, man. They know that. It's the finishes. The action was good. The wrestling last night, the talent was all rocking. The finishes, I was just like, why? That's the best you got? It's kind of like WWE, right? I say the same thing with WWE all the time. But with them, I'm even more puzzled on other things too. But let's move on. I don't want to harp on it. Because I still, there's so much still that Megan Bayne is going to showcase, and I'm looking forward to that. Toni Storm's always good. So I don't want to harp on the finish. I just don't understand how you have her take Storm Zeros and everything and pop up. But I'll hold them down. I can't get up from that. Fletcher over Briscoe via pinfall in an Owen Hart quarterfinal. Jericho defeats Bandito to retain his ROH championship with a huge assist of a baseball bat. I wonder if it's the torpedo bat from the Yankees. Maybe should have left it there, right? But they didn't. Bandito's mom and sister pleaded to the ref to restart the match. I think it was Aubrey? I think it was little Aubrey Edwards. So you have Bandito's family, mom, sister, I believe. They were shouting like, no, there's a bat. Restart the match. So Edwards restarts the match. Moments later, Bandito pins Jericho to become new ROH champion. What the heck just happened? The mom and the sister restarted the match, basically. That's how you're putting a title on Bandito? Thanks, Ma. Imagine that headline. I haven't seen them this morning. I'm recording this pretty early, but imagine that headline. Just, Bandito's mom helps win championship, ROH title. Congratulations, though. That was weird. Adam Cole, baby, defeats Dan Garcia with a couple of Panama Sunrises and a boom and a pinfall to boot. Cole becomes the new TNT champion. Post-match, mutual respect. I respect you. No, I respect you. I like you. Let's go have a drink. Mutual respect with Dan Garcia and Adam Cole. Very nice. Couple of new champions in back-to-back matchups. Bandito, Adam Cole. I do have to say, Dan Garcia, hot take. Maybe not one you want to hear. I understand. I just don't see how Dan Garcia, and much, I'm not even player hating. Much respect to the dude. I say the same with Rhea Ripley. I'm not a big supporter. I'm just not a big fan of Ripley. I don't see it like WWE sees it, and a lot of fans do see. And that's awesome that she is getting the push, or has been. I don't think it's awesome she's in that triple threat. She has no business being there. You lost it to Io? Too bad. WWE Creative booked you horribly. That sucks. But how she's presented now more than ever, I just don't really see it in Rhea Ripley. But I make it a point never to player hate. I always say, good for her, man. They're giving her some rocket, building a fan base. Rock it out. All I ask is that you entertain me. When Rhea gets out there, I want to be entertained by Rhea Ripley. What I've been seeing the last couple months has just been horrendous. But same thing with Dan Garcia. Don't player hate, man. The company sees something. They're giving him some rocket, giving him all the TV time. Just entertain me. That's all I'm asking. All these months and even years now later, and all of this TV time and pay-per-view time to Dan Garcia, I'm not seeing it. I wish I was, man. I'm trying. I'm not seeing it. My coffee's got more charisma. Oh, come on. What? I'm just telling you, man. At this point, we're 8 matches into this thing. It's 5 a.m. at this point. I'm kidding. Slight exaggeration. Kenny Omega defeated Ricochet and Speedball Mike Bailey. Omega pinning Ricochet, I believe was the... No. Yeah, you would have thought it was Speedball. I wish I put this in my... At that point, I was so freaking delirious. But I think it was Speedball out of this finish. It was Ricochet that took this pin. I really should have put that down. Yeah, I'm going to say it was Ricochet, guys. A lot of action, perhaps too much, but pretty good. Mike Bailey having the match of the night was not on BC's bingo card. I knew it would be good. I'm not a big fan of triple threat schmazes or fatal fours, just schmaz matches in general. I don't like them. But, so I knew this would be good, though. I mean, the talent's there. They're going to ooh and ah and go full throttle. Not sell properly. Nobody will care. They'll still scream, this is awesome. But no, it was good. It was fun, high octane. Energy was there, man. I don't think the crowd had a chance to sit down, take a breath, and maybe have a smoke. Just relax for a minute. So it was good in that aspect. Many people probably say that's match of the night. I wouldn't even argue that or bat an eyelash to that, yeah. That's why I say, like, I knew it would be good action-wise, but if you told me that people would be saying match of the night, Speedball Bailey, I would not have guessed that. Okada would come down after the match, have a stare down with Omega. So Okada, Omega, if you don't know, you probably should know. A lot of history there. Rekindle that, it looks like. Then we went into the main event. Mox pins Swerve in the main event. You heard me correct. That probably pissed off a lot of the pro wrestling world. The IWC, the YWC, probably pissed a lot of people off. Just get the belt off of Mox, everybody is saying. Or what they think is still on Mox. Nobody knows. It's been locked in a briefcase for 18 years. Mox pins Swerve in the main event to retain his AEW World title. Old school overbooked match. I love those. You guys know that. Cody Rhodes always does a lot of overbooking. I always felt Cody Rhodes was perfect for AEW in that sense, right? You just overbook. He does the same thing in WWE. But this was completely overbooked. I have no problem with it. Marina Shafir's out there. Nene, of course. All the riders. The ops come down. Hangman Page is out there taking out, dropping Mox on his dome piece at one point. And then the lights go out as Swerve is about to pin Mox. When they go back on, it's the youngest of all the Bucks. The Young Bucks appear. They return. They have Swerve. Each one has an arm. And they take out Swerve, man. They knock this dude out cold. Mox for the W. Massive assist to the Young Bucks wouldn't even do that justice. That's an understatement. The Young Bucks won this match. The Young Bucks are now in cahoots with Mox. Show goes off the air. A lot of people pissed off. Not just that Mox retained, but the fact that the Bucks ended the show. The Bucks. I like the Bucks. You guys know that. A lot of the rage, I'm not sharing in it. I understand how a lot of the fans feel, and this is not going to be the outcome they want. It's almost like Tony Khan trolled them. Absolutely. It truly is. Like we used to say about it, it's almost like Tony Khan's like, dude, everybody's like taking it that to heart, that Mox is champ, and they hate the Bucks. You know what? Tony Khan is like, I'll give him something to cry about then. And they are crying, man. People are up, and some fans are pissed that Mox kept his title and that the Young Bucks closed the show. I never thought that Swerve was getting this title. I was not in the camp. I wasn't. And I like Mox's work, and you could say what you want. You could not like Mox. That's fine. To say that he did not bring it last night, that's lying to yourself, because nobody else would take that. That's bullshit. Whether you like Mox or not, you got to at least give the dude his due. He brought it last night. Swerve as well. No, quite everybody. The overbooking, I was fine with. Straight up to the Young Bucks. If you think BC's going to just start flipping out and raging on this finish, I'm not. I never thought Swerve was getting that title. I didn't think it was the time. I don't. BC, it was time for Mox to lose the title 28 years ago. Do the math, BC. Way before he got it. I understand. I'm on a different wavelength, man. And if this is causing this much issue, if this is really causing this much issue, man, it's going to be a big moment when Mox loses that championship. Massive moment. Dynasty was not it. This wasn't it for Swerve, man. There's a bigger thing at play here. And if you listen to Swerve afterwards, in a lot of the headlines too, man, it's talking about how the Bucks and everything, it's like it's a cohesive thing to make sure that Swerve does not become champion. That's the story. Build on that. There's like this resistance. They will not allow Swerve to become champ. There's your story. Because now everybody has to come together and find a way. Mox holding the world title is not what is the detriment to AEW, guys. Stop. I don't understand where this is coming from. Every time I see Mox on a Dynamite, the dude is knocking it out of the park. I understand the Death Rider storyline and all of that. I hear you. Creatively, many things need to be adjusted. But the despise for Mox is just laughable, man. And people really take it to heart. Like, they really take this hate for Mox to another level. It is sadly laughable. So in that aspect, I kind of laughed a little bit coming off of the reaction that everybody had from this event. But the general conception in the community is that this event was not good. I understand. The finishes were fucking weird, man. And by the way, the Bucks is not how I would have necessarily went here. And I don't mind the Bucks at all. I don't know if that would not have been my finish either. I'm just putting that out there. I'm just saying the rage in the community was even bigger than the act itself of the Young Bucks making sure that Mox keeps this championship. It was kind of wild. But that's my issue as well. If people are saying that this pay-per-view sucked because of the finishes, I can see that. The wrestling was really good. But you're going to need more than just wrestling on a wrestling show. I tell you guys that all the time. I'll say that about Mania. There's a very good chance that Mania, when it is all said and done, is really good. And we're all talking about what an amazing Mania. That doesn't take away from the journey to get there. It doesn't take away from the entire road to Mania. And the stories or lack thereof, the creative or lack thereof, the build to the matches or lack thereof. So just because we get a night of good wrestling action, how we got there matters, man. How we got there matters. And so you can only hope that like all the creative decisions are good on top of the good wrestling at Mania. And even then, I will preach to the how you doings. We gotta have a good road to these pay-per-views. You have to have good build. You can't just say, hey, we're going to give the bare minimum or less, but on the night of the pay-per-view, the talent will put on good matches and we'll come with the creativity. And everybody will forget about how bad the lead up to it was. Can't do that. With this event, I actually feel that many of these matches had a good lead up. The finishes didn't deliver. The talent definitely did. Hope this makes sense, man. You get a good event when everything falls into place. The lead into the pay-per-view, the build, all of that, the creative going into it, the talent puts on a performance of a lifetime top to bottom, and the creative backs them up. The finishes, the presentation. When all that works in symmetry, that's when you know you got a really good show. The wrestling was there last night. The finishes were not. The crowd's already down on AEW, so there's not a lot of wiggle room. So that's why you're going to hear the rage a little bit louder probably on this event. I'm not going to rage as much as a lot of others because I did see a lot of good here, but I could see why if somebody paid $50 with a lot of these finishes, man, I could see why they're kind of like, dude, can I at least get 25 back? That's what I got for you guys, man. Amped up 4/6/2025. Thanks for hanging with BC, having a coffee or a beverage, and just rocking out on some pro wrestling talk, man. Hopefully I gave you guys some thought-provoking conversation and entertained you in the process. A little bit later, I hope to be live for a little bit of a Raw preview, maybe even a first couple of matches. maybe stop by the channel before Raw. Or when Raw hits the airwaves, I'll probably be live. So stop by, smash the up, say what's up to BC in the unit. Until then, until next time, there will be that next time. Top guys, we are out. BC in the unit. 44 dive, that's a wrap. We're saying check you. Salute.